Hi peaches, it's Shaaba. Welcome back to my channel and thank you for clicking on another video. It's Monday and you know what that means? It is time for us to dive deep into the subreddit Am I the A-hole? Why? Because it's a little bit of fun, it's a little bit of juicy drama. We can hopefully help a couple people out whilst also expanding our own mindsets along the way. Now before we carry on, you may have noticed that the place looks a little bit different. I am in fact standing. Look at this. I can get my ADHD beans out. It's new right now. I'm loving it. I'm just letting you know. Because sometimes when things are just a little bit off, you can be like, is it the hair? Is it the nose? I don't know why it'd be the nose. It's the background, okay? You can see more of the peach now. We're pilot testing it for this one video. It seems perfect for this weird purgatory state. That little bit between Halloween and Christmas where you're like, I don't know if I need to be spoopy or festive or possibly both. I kind of love it. I hope you had a good spoopy weekend if you celebrate the Hallow of the Ween. All right, are we ready to go fishing for some drama? A bloop. Am I the drama for calling my toxic aunt out in front of everybody? Oh my goodness, we're starting spicy. OP is a 15-year-old boy and yesterday got into a huge argument with his aunt, 38, in front of the whole family. That sucks. For context, my aunt is usually nice but very demanding. She expects everyone, including the kids and especially me, to help prepare for events, which we do voluntarily. This sounds very normal. However, she doesn't seem to realize that we're not obligated to do this. I think it really depends on your family structure, right? But I feel like this is not unusual at this point. Right now, I don't consider that toxic because of course you're not obligated, but dynamics of power, like it's a typical family setup where you're not obligated, but like you're obligated, you know? She can also be mean to many family members, says OP, yet no one speaks up because she hosts all the family gatherings. For example, she constantly argues with my younger aunt and makes fun of her. No, and she criticizes my big sister, calling her ugly and questioning her life choices. This is mean. I get it. An aunt can be spicy, but calling your own niblet ugly. You know, Prawn's previous owners thought he was ugly and that's why he took him back. And ever since I heard that, every time I hear that someone's being called ugly, I'm like, where are they? Recently, my aunt's even been mean to my older cousin. Not the older cousin. I'm the older cousin and I know you don't want to mess with that. My aunt is a micromanager and often mocks everyone in front of the family. I always help her with events, decorating, cooking, cleaning, but it's never enough and she criticizes everything I do. Is it really bad that in a tiny way I can relate to this? I would never call someone ugly. I would never like hate on them or be mean to them for helping, but I do micromanage. I am a little bit of a freaky micromanager, but there's a difference. You can want to micromanage and learn when to hold your tongue. I feel like maybe that's what aunt needs to do sometimes. Let's read on. Yesterday, says OP, whilst helping her before a family gathering, she started to criticize my sister for wanting to delay university by 2 years, calling her lazy. My mum didn't defend my sister, which upset me. Later, I set the tables, but my aunt didn't like how I arranged the papers, even though I followed her instructions. Oh, this level of micromanage. She called her husband over to make fun of me in front of my little cousin. Not the playground bullying tactics, aunt. When I was in the kitchen, my mum asked me where someone was, and I told her that I couldn't help because I was already assisting several people. My aunt overheard and snapped at me to stop helping and leave, which I did without arguing. Your aunt sounds like a handful. I'm not gonna lie, I can see now where the toxicity is coming from. During dinner prep, I overheard my aunt insulting my grandparents, who are both very sick, for wanting to share a plate. I told her that it wasn't a big deal and she should let it go. This triggered her and she screamed at me, asking if I had a problem. I might be the asshole, but I raised my voice and I told her that she couldn't keep criticizing everyone for minor things and micromanaging, and then I walked away. Good for you for speaking up. I say this with a laugh because there have been a number of times where I've done this. There's one that I have in my mind where I did this to like an elder and I got kicked out of the car. Luckily, I was only like a minute away from where we were going, so I just walked back. But that takes balls, my friend. That takes balls, and you did that, and yeah, you did that. Well done, I think. Yeah, for standing up for yourself, for sure. Well done. Many family members followed me saying that I was right, but that I shouldn't have disrupted the peace. This sounds like my family script. Do we share a family OP? They admitted that they don't speak up because they want to avoid the drama, and my younger cousin, sister and aunt confided that they don't feel like they're taken seriously. Several family members shared similar experiences upstairs, which is why my cousin avoids going to my aunt's house. During dinner, my grandma confronted me and acknowledged how aggressive my aunt can be. I then loudly stated that I knew I was right. The petty passive-aggressive, I see you. Because many family members had shared similar stories with me, I realised this was petty and hurtful, as knowing so many people feel this way must be painful. But you did it anyway. Okay, I see you. Today, I expected my parents to support me, but they instead criticised me. My mum said that my aunt called her, saying that she couldn't sleep and was deeply hurt by what I said. Sounds like maybe your aunt was hurt by the truth, and you happen to be the messenger, and this is a shooting the messenger kind of situation. I can acknowledge that and still question if what you did was right. I'm in two minds. Let's finish and then we'll see. My dad told me that I was petty and disrespectful, especially since my aunt is a new mother. However, I don't think that excuses her behaviour because she treated my younger aunt similarly even before becoming a mother. So, am I the drama? Peaches, I feel like you and I are going to disagree on this badge. I'm going to just put it out there. Everybody sucks here. This is my badge. I do think that the aunt sucks more by a long shot. It's an everybody sucks here with condolences. And here is why. I get it. Sometimes it's so annoying and you need to speak your truth, but there is a right time and a right place, and I kind of feel like this maybe wasn't the right time and the right place. It sounds like it was during a dinner when more people were there. It was also sort of like under your aunt's hospitality, which does make things a little bit trickier, and especially if she is a new mum, like that's something that was just popped out in the end there, which just makes me feel like maybe you being a 15-year-old, I get it, hormones and feelings, they're a little bit harder to harness in the teens. And you know what? 90% of me is like, why? Why do you even need to harness that? She's not treating you right. It's not fair. Other people feel the same way. Yes, and yes. But at the same time, there is a time and a place. And I just feel like the outburst, and particularly the pettiness that came after the outburst, it's not really the outburst, it's the fact that you went on to be like, loads of people feel this way. They've all told me, like, it's intending to hurt. And you are doing it from a place of hurt, and it causes problems, not just for you and your aunt, but everyone else who had told you. That's not something that she's going to be able to let go. And it might be that those other people had confided in you, not thinking it was going to get back to the aunt, right? And now this whole can of worms is opened where the aunt's not going to be able to drop it. She's going to be like, who is it? Who is it? And I am the first person to say that love is truth. We need to tell people where their flaws are if we truly love them, so that we can give them an opportunity to grow. But people have to want to tell them. You were wanting to tell them, but other people weren't wanting to tell them, and you kind of dobbed them into that, you know? It's really bugging me because there's a quote that I found online, and it's such a gorgeous quote, and this is why we need to be able to have those fancy future glasses where we can just go bloop, so that we can just remind ourselves of things all the time, because there are just some really great motivational life quotes that I would just have constantly tattooed right here if I could. But the sentiment of the phrase is that ultimate freedom comes from realizing that we choose how we react in different moments. I promise you it sounded way more powerful than what I just said to you. But the point being is, if we're not wanting to burn bridges, actually if we can approach things from a calmer place and from a place of wanting to grow and fix a situation, as opposed to the raw feelings of hurt, you know, like when an onion cries, you know, like, bah, then outcomes can look incredibly different. Imagine if OP had gone to the aunt afterwards and been like, hey, thank you so much for dinner tonight. Would you mind if I share something with you? I know that you have a lot going on, and I know that you only mean well, and everything that you do is because you want what's best for the whole family, but I have to let you know that some of the ways that you've spoken, or this that you did, really hurt me. And it may not have been your intentions, but it was absolutely your result, and I wanted to tell you so that we didn't have this growing resentment, because hey, life's too short, and we could all get on so much better if there was less of this negativity around. And then, if she acted really horribly, then you know that you were doing everything you can to try and maintain that, and she is just being a total poo. But I don't know, if people are not intentionally toxic, creating the right environment can really make a difference as to how or whether somebody listens in the first place. Having said all of that, I still only class you as a tiny bit of the drama within the everybody sucks here, because clearly if things weren't going wrong in the first place, you wouldn't feel the need to have said anything, and all you were doing was standing up for your bloody grandparents. If something's going down, you have every right to talk about it. I just think it's the time and place thing. Maybe it could have been done in a better way. Your aunt, however, is definitely the drama. She's clearly pissing off a lot of people, not just you. And I'm really sorry, my love. Everybody has one of them. I feel that sometimes I am that one. No, to be fair, I don't think people are like, oh my god, I hate her. Like, but maybe they're like, oh my goodness, do we really need to have the candles this close together? Really, Shaaba? Really? You needed to have the napkins on this side of the plate? What do you think, Peaches? Do you agree? Let me know downstairs. Just remember to be kind. Not the drama. Tell your parents that your aunt should be upset because she was verbally abusive to you and other family members, and you expect an apology in front of the family before agreeing to interact with her again. Your parents are also wrong, and they should reflect on why they chose to help the aunt bully their child. I see it. I agree with this. You know, my 16-year-old self in particular agrees with this wholeheartedly. The reason that I hesitate a little bit is because when there are family situations and networks where you want to try and maintain them, doing things like demanding an apology takes place in front of the entire family just comes across as super petty. My therapist told me something that definitely is one of those quotes that's just constantly tattooed in my mind. He questioned me. He asked me, do you really need to hear the words? If you know that she's sorry, do you need to hear it? Sometimes when people act in anger, when people are being just total dicks, you can acknowledge that that's the case, and you can be able to move on and find resolutions that don't even absolutely require the words be said. I'm not saying a discussion shouldn't take place. You should absolutely have a chat with your aunt, and I'm hoping that she does take some accountability, but that accountability doesn't need to be in front of everybody, and it certainly doesn't need to be a list of I'm sorry for doing X and Y and Z and this and this and this. It can be a I'm sorry, I acknowledge that I've hurt you. Thank you for explaining this to me. I'll try and do better. Maybe you can point it out next time. You know, like there's nicer ways that it can be done that doesn't involve public ridicule. OP says, I realize about the weird behavior because she attacked her best friend and embarrassed her in front of me, and then she physically attacked her little sister. Oh my goodness. She still has friends, but she definitely argues with them a lot, or at least the close ones, but they always come back because she guilt trips them. This sucks. It sounds like your aunt is a really tricky person, and it's kind of difficult to make a judgment because in the first one where your parents are like, look, she's a new mum, we need to give her a little bit of grace, and then in this one you're like, no, this is an ongoing behavior, and then when it's just micromanaging things, it's kind of a grey area. Only you know, my love, how much you can take, and unfortunately when you're in a family dynamic like this, you kind of have one hand tied behind your back as well as to how much autonomy you have about going to certain family events and setting your own boundaries to not be around people, which you should always be able to do. But again, if mum and dad are dragging you or forcing you along, it's easier said than done, right? Maybe your family should grow spines instead of letting this person be so unkind to them all the time. I mean, why put up with it? Why go to her place if she's like this? Not the drama for what you said, but how do your family members justify letting your aunt damage people all the time? I hear it, and I have to say I totally agree with this, but don't think that I'm being contradictory. I agree that you were not the drama for what you said. It's kind of that moment where it's like, it's not what you said, but it's how you said it. Especially when there's these family dynamics of like the elders and the person who's hosting, like I know this family. I have this family, and I know the best way to operate and maintain your own mental health and well-being at the end of the day, right, is to work within the bounds of their power dynamics, because if you don't, they're not going to listen. I would much rather be a little bit more curated in getting the message across at the end of the day if I know that they're actually going to hear it and therefore have a chance to listen, process, respond, take it on board and action, as opposed to just being like rah rah rah, which you're entitled to do, absolutely, but just be aware that it might be falling on deaf ears. OP responded to this one too and said, my aunt doesn't do this to older people. There you go, it's power dynamics, baby. Except my grandparents, but not as severe, so the older ones never experienced it. My youngest aunt got labelled as crazy by my aunt and mum, and the rest are just teenagers in my family's eyes, so our opinions don't matter and our experiences are invalid. This sucks. And the reason that your grandparents are in there is because, weirdly, there comes this like flipping point, right, where, and I've seen it myself, the aunts act a certain way only to their parents because they've had this like back chat thing. To be fair, I will speak to my parents more openly and more in a raw form, if you like, than I would aunts and uncles. It's the family dynamics. You are not the drama, my love, for saying what you said or for feeling how you feel. But my advice to you to protect your own mental health is to take a deep breath sometimes. Realize that the impact that you have on changing these systems that have been built into these elders for generations and generations is going to take more than one rant to fix. Best of luck, OP. Oh my goodness. Not the drama, and you have a whole family of spineless enablers. They said you should keep the peace. What peace? There is no peace to be had around that woman. I have never related to something more. I cannot tell you how wonderfully reassuring it feels to see something like this, because it is so true. This phrase, keep the peace, for peace purposes, but why? Everyone is upset. It's this sense of manufactured peace, right? And the second that you are able, through resource, through time, through boundaries, through age, to step away and be like, this is not peaceful, and I no longer need to be in it, the better off you'll be. Wishing you so much luck, OP. Alright, flip. Am I the drama for not paying a share of somebody else's holiday ticket? What? This is one of the most bizarre titles I've ever seen. If you are the drama, I'm gonna be shook. Let's go. So, says OP, around October last year, I've booked a holiday with, at the time, two very close friends of mine, Emily and Brooke. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm in an episode of 90210. Of course those are your friends' names. It just feels like the makings of a US TV series. I don't know why. The holiday would be for 6 people, the 3 of us, the romantic partners of the other 2 friends, and my best friend. 6 in total. Cute. Since then, Brooke and I have had a very bad falling out over nothing significant, and we haven't spoken to each other for about 4 months now. Oh dear. I'm sorry to hear that. It happens, but it sucks. I've made efforts to reach out to Brooke in order to clear the air, but I've received absolutely no reply. Still, we are booked in for this big 6-person holiday towards the end of the year. Okay, this sucks. Of course this sucks because you're in a different position. However, silver lining, there's 6 of you. I feel like that's a good enough group where if 2 people don't like each other, there's other things to do. There's other chemistries that can be had. Those round tables that you sit on at dinner, if you're far away, that's good enough. You don't need to talk. I have considered dropping out of the holiday, says OP, but me and my best friend are really looking forward to it since we don't have many chances to see each other since we moved to opposite ends of the UK, and to be honest, we're more likely going to just keep to ourselves and not interact much with Emily and Brooke during the holiday. Fair. Sounds like from this as well that Emily is maybe siding with Brooke, or if not siding, that she's still in communication with Brooke. I'm so curious about the drama, and I don't know if that drama could affect whether you're the drama here. I'm thinking that it shouldn't, but part of me is like, I need to know, just in case. OP continues, so my main issue comes from the fact that Brooke has since separated from her romantic partner. Oh, now I get the title. Every single person has made effort to find another person to take over the ticket, but nobody's taken on the offer. Now, Brooke wants everybody to split the share of Brooke's ex's ticket, which equates to around 130 each. No, Brooke. No. Let's finish. Am I therefore the drama if I refuse to pay this? In a normal situation, I wouldn't mind paying to help a friend. But as I mentioned, Brooke has ignored all efforts that I've made to build bridges and clear the air and has no clear interest in sitting down to talk things through. This is very different. I feel like that's very important. So you're not going to sit down to talk to someone, but you're going to expect them to pay money towards a ticket that you should really be covering, like your party should be covering. I'm really hoping it'd be refunded. I feel begrudged, says OP, paying £130 to cover her ex's ticket, and more so for asking my best friend for £130, especially because he's never even met Brooke in his life. How can Brooke even think that this is okay? Plus, we're both not amazingly financial at the moment, so 130 each is hardly pocket change. No, it's a lot of money, babe. I've already voiced this opinion to Emily, who's called me a massive arsehole for even considering this, and I'd be likely screwing her over as well, as she, her partner, and Brooke will have to cover the entire other ticket cost between the 3 of them if me and my friend refuse. I fail to see how this is your problem. Is this mean? I feel like because of the setup, this wasn't just the 3 of you. It was 6 people, very clearly at the beginning laid out in 3 camps. It's Emily and Emily's partner. It's Brooke and Brooke's partner. It's you and your friend. Especially because you're not talking, why on earth would Brooke expect you to pay? And it's even more alien to me that Brooke would expect your friend to pay. That's absolutely bananas. Is that not bananas? That feels bananas. I don't think Emily or Emily's partner should be expected to pay either. This is Brooke's problem. Why has no one asked for a refund on the ticket? I'm assuming that maybe this is an option that's been tried and isn't possible. I don't know why. So am I the drama, asks Sophie, for refusing to pay up and refusing to ask my best friend to pay up for a person who has no interest in speaking with me anymore? No, you are not the drama. I fail to see how anybody in this situation except for Brooke is the drama. Initially I was like, I wonder if the issue as to why you've fallen out makes a difference. It doesn't make a difference, babe. Not in this situation, especially because most importantly, because it seems that you have tried to reach out to build the bridges, to clear the air, but Brooke has no interest in doing that. So how? The audacity to then ask you for money. Not in my book. No mama, and definitely not your friends. If they're not met, who the frick does that? Do you get holiday insurance? I don't think holiday insurance would cover a breakup. It's a hard position for Brooke to be in. I don't envy the breakup and the breakup having this impact. It's also really hard to not know what the terms and conditions of the holiday is. If you can all get your money back, if you all cancel, I would just do that. You can book a different holiday for you and your best friend so that you can see each other. That doesn't have to be a big deal. So if it's an all or nothing, do the nothing. But if you're going to lose your money anyway, how would that work? What would happen if you all refused to pay and Emily and partner didn't pay and Brooke didn't pay? If there was no 6th person, what happens then? Alright, my badge is not the drama, and my advice would be to check up the terms and conditions, explain the situation to the travel agency, whoever you've booked with. Hopefully there'll be something out there who can explain. And this may sound odd, but if there is absolutely no way of refunding this, like, has the ex already paid? Because surely if you haven't paid yet, you don't need to pay, then you can all just kind of walk away. But if you have already paid, then surely the ex would have already paid. Then unless Brooke is asking for the money to give back to the ex, which would be totally bananas, like that's then Brooke's choice to absorb the cost, then maybe maybe he can come and like go and do his own holiday. I don't know. It's so hard to understand because it's not like if it's self-contained flats or something, that's very different to if you're all sharing one Airbnb house. I don't know. We need some more details. I'm also using that badge. Need more information, absolutely. But one thing that I am absolutely for sure certain of is that you and your best friend should not be paying. It is Brooke's responsibility, not the drama. Not the drama. Cancel the vacation if possible. I do think this would be the best way out. This is going to be a nightmare for all of you. Also, top tip for any peach wishing to go into vacations like this, if you are capable of doing so, book it on a credit card, babe. The amount of monetary protection that you get from a credit card is unbelievable compared to a debit card. It is worth it. Set one up for those third-party suppliers that you've never used before. And in situations like this, it gives you two places of support. Not only can you then contact the supplier in the first place, but also your bank to be like, babe, I'm stuck. What do I do? Info! If you haven't paid yet, can you remove the extra person? If you can't, then the ex or Brooke needs to cover the cost. He committed to the trip and their breakup shouldn't be impacting everyone else. Personally, if it were me, I'd stay a million miles away from this holiday. This sums up exactly how I feel. I think ultimately the responsibility is on the ex, but if, because we don't know the situation, the ex is no longer speaking, the ex is not contactable, the ex was abusive, there are certain situations in which we shouldn't be expecting Brooke to get back in touch with somebody who has not been safe to them. But if it's not that, and it's just been a little bit annoying, then babe, cover your own freaking ticket. Even if you're not going, that's your responsibility. And if he won't, then automatically it has to be Brooke's. Just like if I was going on holiday with my friends and Jamie last minute pulled out, I would cover the cost of the ticket. I would not expect my friends to be doing that. It's funny. I wonder if that would be different. Like me saying that would be different depending on my age, and OP hasn't given us their age. But that goes back to my first point, which is it wasn't just an equal friends holiday. This was three couples, as it were, booking a joint excursion. Therefore, the hierarchy is the other couples before it becomes the other people. Honestly, everyone sucks here and the trip is going to be an absolute disaster, says one commenter. Nothing about this makes sense. If you actually want to reconcile, you should do what's socially expected in your group of friends. If you normally have no issues covering the cost, which I personally think is weird, I'm just going off of your words, I totally agree with this, you should have an issue. Even if you were friends, as I'm saying, like, I don't think Emily should be paying for it either. You should take the non-nuclear route and pay the extra cost, otherwise you're just being petty and vindictive. You believe that you should still go on the vacation after not covering the extra, which you'd acknowledge you'd normally have no issue doing, meaning that you're going to be on a vacation with a group of friends that are all angry with you. How do you figure this is going to play out? Do you know, I didn't even think about that. Yes, if you and your best friend don't pay, which your best friend in particular, like, I would be so pissed if I was a best friend being like, oh, yes, this person who I've told you I no longer speak with, their ex who they no longer speak with isn't going, and so you need to pay them £130 just so you can go on holiday with me and my friends. Keep all of those in. And if you don't pay it and your best friend isn't going to pay it, understandably, how freaking awkward is this going to be? I hope it's different self-contained flats. Just cancel the holiday if you can. Cancel the freaking holiday and book something for you and your best friend to go and have a good time. I wish you the best of luck, my love. Woo. And floop, would I be the drama if I stole a blind guy's seat? Do you know sometimes you read them and you're like, did I read that right? OP says, I'm currently a college student and today is the first day of classes. Last semester, I took a class with a blind guy who likes to sit on the first row just like I do. The only thing is that he was in what was to me the best seat. And why does a blind guy need the best seat in the room view-wise? I mean, tell me you know nothing about disability without telling me you know nothing about disability. Tell me you have no empathy without telling me you have no empathy. This is very rude. I cannot believe that someone thought, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to intentionally put these words on a keyboard, read it through and be like, this is what I want to say to the internet. Let's see where it's going. This was like the first week of classes, so I just got there earlier than him and sat in said seat. He moved my stuff out of the chair and threw it to the floor. So me and him had a discussion after he removed my book bag from the seat that he had previously sat in, I assume at a previous lecture. And I told him this was my seat and I'd appreciate if he didn't sit in it or remove my property from it. Wow. So what I'm hearing is there's a lecture hall, and in previous classes, this person sat in a seat that you deemed to be the best seat, right? They have gone through their own efforts and have their own process, which for blind people or for people of any level of vision impairment have a process, right? Where not to get the best view, as you have, I think, very wrongly pointed out here, but for reasons of accessibility, right? Have learned how to get to a specific seat. It's familiar to them. They've done it before. Perhaps it's the easiest seat to access. And then when they go back to use said procedure to see their exact same seat that they've already established a pattern of, they've already been there before, they take the belongings that are foreign for their area that they've established and moved them, and you've taken this as some sort of like personal issue because for some reason you think this seat has the best view. And explain to me as well, right? Lecture hall, I'm in one seat right now, yeah? Look at my view to the board. This is me sitting in the seat next to it. How different is my view to the freaking board? Some people, I swear, have no sense of even trying to put themselves in the perspective of somebody who's not themselves. The audacity is remarkable. Skipped in now the same classroom, same seat. Would I be the drama if I sit in his seat? He doesn't need it for accommodations. With respect, OP, you have no idea if he needs it for accommodations. From your point of view, you're like, oh, well, he doesn't need to see and this is the best view for me. There are so many other things that's not just the view from the seat that will make sense as to why people choose seats. And it's not even just for different visual needs. Take somebody sitting in an aisle seat. It might be due to anxiety. It might be due to a need to go to the toilet. It might be due to the need of being taller and not being able to fit their knees under, which, to be fair, I didn't understand or appreciate either until Jamie explained it to me. But this is me explaining to you, and I'm hoping other people on the forum have done the same, that you need to call yourself the f*** out for your privilege and use this as a learning moment, because how you have acted is not acceptable. Yes, drama, babe. Big drama. Don't do this. Just in case it makes a difference, Sophie said, I feel like I could be the drama if I sit in the seat because my mum and sister have told me that I shouldn't fight with a blind guy over a seat. Honestly, I don't think this is a reason. I mean, yeah, if you're a decent person, you probably shouldn't. It's giving the same energy, the same vibes of those people who sit in a bus when a pregnant lady's walking on and they're like, well, why should I give up my seat? I was here first. Yeah, just be a nice human being. But you know what? It doesn't cost anything to be a nice human being, and it's actions like this that means that if reincarnation is real, you're gonna come back as a dung beetle. Honest to God, some people just... Whew. Sorry, I digress. What I was saying was I don't even think that this is the reason. It's not that you shouldn't fight with a blind guy over a seat. It's because you're not being fully informed. I feel like if you had a decent conversation with this guy and didn't just berate him for removing your belongings off of a seat, you would realize that there are other things that go into that decision, and you're just being very blinkered by thinking about what you need, not what other people need. And that is a problem, my friend. It's a great chance to be a better person. I hope you are able to grow. You are the drama. The blind guy probably sits in the seat because it's the easiest one for him to find. It is an accommodation of his disability, which enables him to quickly and easily find a seat. You are a complete asshole, and you could sit in the second row, or if you're so determined to get there early and take some other seat on the front row instead of the one that the blind guy prefers. How much harm is he doing you? Ableist asshole. Couldn't have said it better myself. You are the drama. You do understand that when someone is blind, they usually are not totally blind. Not always, but absolutely a wonderful point. If they do have some form of vision, they should have the best visual seat in the house. And again, like, explain to me how this, in any meaningful way, changes the view that you have. It's so stupid. If somebody else has sat there first, just sit next to them. It's so bizarre. They have some sort of vision, so this guy likely does need the best seat to see as much as he possibly can. This is an assumption, but it's absolutely one that is another experience that could be different to your own. OP. Grow. Learn. Do better. But you know what? Well done you for coming to this forum to open your mind in the first place and ask for input. At least you're trying to see what the good, right thing to do is here, and I super appreciate that. Alright, shall we go fishing one more time? Bloop. Am I the drama for visiting my surrendered cat at the shelter? I wasn't prepared. Please, Lord, I really don't want to cry at 10 p.m. Let's try and get through this without tears. My husband, a 33-year-old man, and I, a 31-year-old woman, made the very difficult decision to return one of our cats, Eclair, to the shelter. We adopted him a couple of months ago. Okay, this is not your fault. It happens. Well, hang on, I don't know the full story. My point is, you're not automatically a baddie because you're having to return a cat. Chemistry, family fit, house fit is really important when you bring in a little squish in of any kind. And if this is the right thing for little Eclair, then this is the right thing for little Eclair. Let's read on. We've had him since 2019 when he was a kitten, and he was always the problem child of our 6 cats. Alright, so what I'm hearing is this isn't a rash decision and you're an experienced cat mama. 2 very important points. OP continues, he's been on Prozac for years. We've had multiple fellyways, but he began targeting one of the other cats, Mina, at the end of last year. He was relentlessly pursuing her. Mina hid in the kitchen cupboard all the time, and she stopped using the litter box, and I eventually found her with a deep puncture in her tail. Oh, Mina. Yeah, these 2 cats, they're not getting along, babe. We took both cats to the vet multiple times, tried different medications, but nothing was working. We tried to rehome him ourselves, but we ultimately figured that he'd have better luck finding a new home at a shelter where he'd be posted online and whatnot. I do see where you're coming from, especially if you don't know anybody in your immediate vicinity who would take on a cat. I'm not gonna lie, we had a very similar situation with Prawn where we actually had conversations of rehoming him. I'm so glad it didn't come to that, and it broke me. I know how much stress and like heartache and horribleness that lead up is. I can only imagine what that must feel like to actually have to rehome Eclair. Oh oh, don't cry. But it is very hard when everybody you know either has pets of their own or isn't in a position to take on pets. Where do you go? Shelters are the next best thing, right? So I'm not blaming you for that, babe. It's also a private shelter or sanctuary that's basically a house, and all the cats have free reign over several connected rooms and a big patio, so he's not just in a tiny kennel. Cute. We love to hear of well-meaning, well-acting shelters. When we surrendered him, says OP, the staff member told us that we could come visit him, volunteer, and generally be involved. You know, it's so much fun. I myself volunteered at a cat shelter. I didn't thoroughly enjoy the work, but it was so worth it to see all the gorgeous, cute little squishes. I will say though, that might be a little bit confusing to a Claire. If you used to be in your home and now you're leaving so much, I question how beneficial that is for a Claire, but let's see. We've been visiting a Claire on Saturdays for a few hours each week. I've also befriended a few other cats there. One of my favourites is a unique looking girl with a very sweet and affectionate personality, and the fact that she hasn't been adopted yet now makes me feel like they don't do nearly enough to get their cats adopted. I mean, maybe, but it's also really hard to just get people to fall in love with little kitties. Little pets of any kind, particularly when they're older. Their expiration date, right? Like, it's sad. It's really sad. We are not crying in today's video. God! They mostly post their dogs on Instagram. On the rare chance that they do post, the pet finder pages for most of the cats have a single blurry photo and no bio. The actual adoption portion of the website doesn't even work on mobile, and it just seems that they need better online support in general. That definitely sounds like it is a case. We were saying that we love a good adoption shelter. This is the case, but that marketing, that outreach is the most important part, and I'm kind of frustrated that you didn't look into that before you popped a Claire there. I hope that you're at least giving feedback to them, OP. That is absolutely required. OP continues, it is always the same staff member every week, and she's told us that a Claire is happier and more affectionate after we visit. Today, when we went to visit a Claire, the staff member told us the director doesn't want us visiting him anymore. She didn't say why, but I overheard her talking to a volunteer, and the director said it's not fair to a Claire that we keep visiting and confusing him, which I can understand if we hadn't been under the impression that our visits were positive for him. This is making a lot more sense to me. I'm so glad that the director said something, and I'm so glad that you're not going anymore. I can also understand though, if you were told that this is what's best, and obviously you are also being, I want to say blinkered, but maybe like led with a personal interest to not let go of this little kitty, because of course it's not that you didn't want him, it's just that he wasn't fitting with the other cats in your household. I'm assuming that Mina was there first, like before a Claire, and so I can understand if he's always been like the problem child and he's really harming another cat why you need to do that, and therefore when you are being told by someone, hey, it's better for them if you come and visit, why you would then want to do that. It's also kind for you to be volunteering. This feels like a really unfortunate coincidence, and right here I think the arsehole, the drama in this situation is the person who told you this was a good idea. Well, let's carry on. OP says, we are devastated that we can't see him anymore because we do still love him. I also really looked forward to going to the shelter and seeing all the cats. We've visited 4 to 5 times now, and this has just blindsided and really hurt us. I've worked with animals before, but I don't have experience with adoptable cats. Is it cruel that we keep going back? Yeah, I think it would be cruel for you to keep going back now, knowing what you know. Being fully informed, you should not go back. I imagine there are actual volunteers that are only there once a week for a couple of hours, so the cats are used to people coming and going. They did take a Claire off of his Prozac, and it sounds like he's been inappropriately urinating, so I'm also wondering if they think that our weekly visits are causing that, especially if you're still like smelling like the other things. And of course, like, cats are a total sucker for routine. The fact that little Claire has been entirely rehomed is going to make the little bean feel some kind of way. It will just be really confusing if you keep coming back. I can see why it would be less stressful for a Claire for you to not be there, and it's one of those situations like that sad marshmallow video where if you love them, you gotta let them go. I'm too upset to look at this objectively, and I'm trying to gauge what is best for a Claire. Am I the drama for visiting him after we surrendered him? Okay, here's my viewpoint. No, you are not the drama for visiting him after you surrendered him, but yes, you would totally be the drama if you continue going on this advice. You have been told now that it's not what's best for your kitty, or for a Claire who's sadly no longer your kitty. For reasons beyond your control, no longer your kitty. If you really like volunteering at cat shelter, that's amazing. You should totally do that. You can go to a different one, or you can ask the shelter to inform you when a Claire's been adopted so that you can go back to that one. Or even better, you could volunteer to help their online presence. Maybe instead of going to the shelter, you can ask for better photos, you can help deal with inquiries, and you can do that on like a weekly basis to help benefit all of the kitties. I can see some fantastic good coming out of this, but you definitely should not be going back to, for want of a better word, taunt a Claire. That's not fair. Especially because you might be smelling like Mino, and little kitty noses are 1,000 times more sensitive than our own. So a Claire will definitely still be feeling that stress that he was feeling in your house every time you come to visit. You are the drama. You confuse the poor cat and surrender again and again. Don't take other kitties in. That's a little bit harsh. I feel like maybe in the past you have been the unintentional drama, but I can't call you the drama because it wasn't your fault. You were told that that was in a Claire's best interest. Ugh, you are the drama. Rehoming the cat would have been far better. This is just cruel and heartless. No, I hate this. I respectfully disagree. I yes, I do agree that rehoming a cat would be better, but if you don't know people to rehome your cat to, and you don't feel comfortable with putting your cat on someplace like Pets at Home, especially when they're displaying behaviors that not everyone would be, you know, accustomed or be able to accommodate, I don't think you're the drama at all for wanting specialized help. I think that's really mean. I'm not gonna lie with this comment. You and your husband both seem to not understand how cats adjust to each other. A puncture wound in a cat's tail can heal a broken heart from not understanding why you keep leaving and coming back to visit. I feel like this person hasn't fully understood what's happened. You've been dedicated to giving your cat medication, you've adopted a cat, you've got 6 cats, you've gone to the vets and you've spoken to them about it, you've put Feliway in, you've tried many different things, and one of your other cats is literally shaking in a cupboard, now not going to the toilet in their litter tray. Like, this isn't a nice position to be in. Not just for you, but for the rest of your family, including the other cats. So if there is a problem cat, it's not just about healing a puncture in a tail. Like, it's about ongoing longevity where there's clearly not a great synergy in your house. Maybe you should have thought about this before getting 6 cats. Sorry, but you're not a good cat owner. No good way to spin this. I totally disagree with this comment. I'm actually really blindsided. I feel so bad for OP because nothing in this post, to me, suggests this. What do you think, Peaches? Am I being too kind to OP, or is this commenter being too harsh? Because this just feels very harsh to me. OP's actually responded and said, I've had Mina longer than Eclair. Well, there you go. He was terrorizing and stalking her constantly and relentlessly. Cats shouldn't bite each other as deeply as he bit her, and that is a big issue. Of course it's a big issue. How can somebody sit there and be like, oh, you're a bad cat owner, when you're seeing 2 cats really not get on and be like, oh, that's fine, that will heal? No, I feel like this commenter would be a really bad cat owner. Ugh, we had blood work done on both of them, tried to medicate them, nothing worked. I wanted to rehome him, but he should be an only cat, and everyone we know who wants a cat already has one. I was terrified of him hurting Mina again, and she was living in fear of him constantly, peeing on herself, barely coming out to eat, missing fur, hiding in a kitchen cupboard every single day. I'm not asking if I'm the asshole for giving up on Eclair. We already know the answer to that. Good on you, OP, because I don't think you're the asshole for that. It happens. It sucks, but it happens. I have to say, I'm speaking not as somebody who's done that. So, like, I know I'm not being biased here. I'm asking if we are the drama for visiting him and seeing how he is doing. And you know what's really confusing? Even OP's response has downvotes. You're the drama, let the cat move on. You are the drama, you are the drama, you are the drama times infinity. And OP has officially been branded asshole. This is really sad to me. Maybe I'm misinterpreting the post. I want to be super clear here. If OP is asking, in the past, were we the drama up until this moment for visiting, you are not the drama. If you are asking, can we continue to visit, you would be the drama. I want to make that very clear, but it sounds like from the post, am I the drama for visiting him after we surrendered him? You're asking about it retrospectively, and no, I don't think you're the drama, and I cannot believe how horribly the forum has branded you afterwards. What do you think, Peaches? Let me know. As always, remember to be kind. This is my corner of the internet. I am allowed to impose boundaries. You're entitled not to follow them, but I'm entitled to restrict you. Be kind. This is a space to grow, and I am wanting this to be as much of a safe space as possible, and we can only do that if we're treating each other with kindness and openness. Oh, this was a heavy one. What do you think, Peaches? Let me know your thoughts downstairs. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you would like to see more, if you'd like to submit your own Am I the Drama? Remember, you can do so. The details are over at our website, shaabaandjamie.com. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time with another video. Be kind and have a great day. Bye.